So guys, first of all, let us consider a reversible reaction where A reacts with B to give us C plus D. So guys, since it is a reversible reaction, it is obvious that A will react with B to give us C and D, and C will react with D to give us A and B back. Now, let's assume that you are a manufacturer of C and D. Now, since you are a manufacturer of C and D, your desire will obviously be to maximize the product. Am I right? You would like to create maximum amount of product from the raw materials. Okay. Now, let us understand this equation. Guys, can I say over here that 1 mole of A reacts with 1 mole of B to give us 1 mole of C and 1 mole of D respectively. And in a backward reaction where the products turn into reactants, can I say that 1 mole of C will react with 1 mole of D to give us 1 mole of A and 1 mole of B respectively. Now, let's say before the start of the reaction, we have 100 moles of A and 100 moles of B. Now it is obvious that if the reaction has not started, then there will be 0 moles of C and 0 moles of D. Now, after certain interval of time, what we observe is that now we have, let's say, 15 moles of C and 15 moles of D. Now, if 15 moles of C and 15 moles of D has been created, can I say guys that 15 moles of A and 15 moles of B has been consumed? So you will subtract 100 minus 15 from the number of moles of A and B. I hope you understood. If you have produced 15 moles of C and 15 moles of D, then it is obvious that 15 moles of A would have reacted with 15 moles of B to give us 15 moles of C and D respectively. So guys, now can I say that we have now 85 moles of A remaining and 85 moles of B remaining. Now mind you guys, since it is a reversible reaction, then simultaneously when A is reacting with B to give us C and D, C will react with D to give us A and B back. So both the processes, that is the forward reaction and the backward reaction, that is the reverse reaction, are happening simultaneously. Okay, don't forget that it is a reversible reaction. Now, after certain interval of time, what we observe is that guys, now we have only 75 moles of A and we have only 75 moles of B, which means that from the initial amount 25 moles has been decreased. Now if 25 moles of A and B has been decreased, then it is obvious that 25 moles of A and B has been consumed to give us 25 moles of C and D respectively. Okay. Now again, after certain interval of time, what we observe is that we have 60 moles of A, 60 moles of B, and it is obvious that we are going to have 40 moles of C and 40 moles of D respectively. Now at this condition where we have 60 moles of A and 60 moles of B, whereas we have 40 moles of C and 40 moles of D, let's say a chemical equilibrium has been established. Now I hope guys you all know what is chemical equilibrium. What is chemical equilibrium? Let's understand. Suppose 5 moles of A and B react with each other to give us 5 moles of C and D respectively. Same will happen with C and D. C and D will react with 5 moles and will give back 5 moles. So here can I say that when 5 moles of C and D is created, we are also getting 5 moles of A and B. So guys, can I say over here that same amount of A and B is getting converted into C and D, and same amount of C and D is also getting converted into A and B. So here can I say, since same amount of products are being produced, the number of moles are not going to change. Now at chemical equilibrium, we will always have 60 moles of A, 60 moles of B, 40 moles of C and 40 moles of D. This ratio of concentrations is now constant. It is not going to change. Why? Because chemical equilibrium has been now established, and same amount of C and D, whereas same amount of A and B is getting created in reverse. Now, but as mentioned earlier, you are a manufacturer and your job is to maximize the product. Am I right? But instead of maximizing the product, you are getting only 40 moles of products. So guys, can I say you are not a good producer because out of 100 moles supplied, 60 moles are as it is and you are getting only 40 moles as product. So can I say that you are getting less amount of product because a chemical equilibrium has been established. Now as a manufacturer, what you will expect? You will expect the chemical equilibrium to take place when you have 90 moles of C and when you have 90 moles of D at least. So when you have 90 moles of products at least, at that moment you will expect the chemical equilibrium to take place. Okay, so if you are having 90 moles of C and D, then it is obvious you will be having 10 moles of A and B respectively. So you expect the chemical equilibrium to happen at this condition, but you are getting the chemical equilibrium at this condition where you are having only 40 moles of products. So can I say guys that you need to change the chemical equilibrium? Am I right? You need to change the chemical equilibrium. So you need to change the chemical equilibrium from this state to this state where you are having maximum amount of product. Now this change in chemical equilibrium is called as shift in equilibrium. Okay, we will understand this topic ahead in a much better way in this video itself. Okay, so when you change the state of equilibrium, it is called as shift in equilibrium. Now how are you going to bring about a shift in equilibrium? How are you going to change the chemical equilibrium? That is, how are you going to bring about a shift in equilibrium? So you are going to make shift in equilibrium with the help of Le Chatelier's principle. So you are going to make use of Le Chatelier's principle, which helps us to understand how to change the equilibrium, or instead how the equilibrium is affected when we change the temperature, when we change the concentration, or when you change the pressure and volume, or when you apply a catalyst. So Le Chatelier's principle will help us to understand the change in chemical equilibrium with the help of change in temperature, concentration, pressure and volume and catalyst. Okay, So I hope guys you have understood up till now that you are not getting sufficient amount of product because of the reversible reaction. A chemical equilibrium was getting established and you are not getting sufficient amount of products. So you need to change the chemical equilibrium state where you can get maximum amount of product. And how you can going to change the chemical equilibrium? You are going to change the chemical equilibrium with the help of the Le-Chatelier's principle. And what is Le-Chatelier's principle? Le-Chatelier's principle helps us to understand how will the chemical equilibrium get affected when you change the temperature, concentration, pressure and volume, and with the help of catalyst. Okay, and this change in chemical equilibrium is called as shift in equilibrium. Okay, so guys, this is your Le-Chatelier's principle. Now guys, don't pronounce it as Le Chatelier's. It is a French name, that is Le Chatelier's. Those who know French might be knowing this. Okay, so let's see what Le Chatelier's principle has to tell us. If any external stress is applied to a reacting system which is at equilibrium, then the system will adjust itself in such a way that the effect of the stress is reduced. Now after reading this sounds like a physics definition. Am I right? Actually, we have to relate it with chemistry now. Don't worry guys, I have a personalized definition about this Le-Chatelier's principle which I will be writing over here. Don't worry, just let me first of all explain you all. Here the stress means concentration, temperature, volume and pressure. Here the reacting system, who is reacting over here? It is nothing but a chemical reaction which is at equilibrium. And which equilibrium we are having over here? We are having a chemical equilibrium. Am I right? We are having a chemical equilibrium. The system means what? Again, the chemical reaction will adjust itself in such a way that the effect of the concentration, temperature, volume and pressure is reduced. Now let me read it over here and then I will write below. Okay, so this principle tells us that if any external stress, which means that if we change the concentration, temperature, volume and pressure to a reacting system, which means that if we change the concentration, temperature, volume and pressure of the reacting system which is at a chemical equilibrium, then the chemical reaction will adjust itself in such a way that the effect of the change in concentration, temperature, volume and pressure is reduced. Okay, so now let me write it in the definition in a personalized way. Okay, so this definition is exactly right which I'm going to write below. Don't worry whether it is right or wrong, it is right, but just it is a personalized definition which you will not be finding in any of the textbooks. Let's understand. Okay, so if we change temperature, concentration, volume or pressure of the chemical reaction. Okay, so understood up till now. If we change the temperature, concentration, volume or pressure of the chemical reaction, then what is going to happen? Then the equilibrium state will be disturbed. Am I right guys? If you change the temperature, concentration, volume or pressure of the chemical reaction which is in equilibrium, then it is obvious that the equilibrium state will be disturbed. And now, since the equilibrium state has disturbed the reaction, the chemical reaction, what it will do? The chemical reaction will adjust itself, in such a way. Okay, so the chemical reaction now is going to adjust itself in such a way that the effect of change in temperature, concentration, volume and pressure is compensated. Okay, so now let me explain you all. See, if we change the temperature, concentration and pressure of the chemical reaction, okay, so if you change the temperature, concentration, volume and pressure of the chemical reaction, then what is going to happen? Then the chemical equilibrium state will be disturbed. So when you change these four parameters, the equilibrium state will be disturbed. Next, now since the equilibrium state is disturbed, what will the chemical reaction do? The chemical reaction will adjust itself. Okay, so the chemical reaction will adjust itself. And how it is going to adjust? It is going to adjust itself in such a way that the effect of the change in temperature, concentration, volume and pressure is compensated. So the chemical reaction is going to adjust itself in such a way that the effect of change in these four parameters will be compensated. And how it is going to compensate? How it is going to compensate? By establishing a new equilibrium. Okay, so we disturbed the previous equilibrium, so the reaction is going to adjust itself in such a way that it is able to establish a new equilibrium. And guys, trust me, if you write this definition in an exam, your teacher is surely going to get impressed. Okay, so guys, I hope you have understood the basic definition of the Le-Chatelier's principle. So guys, do check out my channel where I have uploaded physics and chemistry videos. They might be helpful for y'all. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such interesting videos. Thank you for watching this video.